Good afternoon, everyone. TGT Media is an entertainment industry interview podcast where we interview the creative people from the entertainment industry, and of course, I'm your host, Kurt. We're on episode 310. It's been a while, and we are joined today by the production studio, the video game production studio called Paladin Studios, and we are joined today by Derk. How are you doing today?
Great, Matt. Thanks for having me.
Hey, not a problem. When it comes to video games, obviously, you know, we're a very digital culture here. We're always immersed in the touch games off the smartphones and the console systems and all that other stuff. But talk a little bit about Paladin Studios and how and what your role is and what exactly they do.
So Paladin is you could call it an independent game development studio. We're based in the Netherlands. We're with 12 people, and we basically make all kinds of games. In terms of platforms, it doesn't really matter. We do mobile games, tablet games, you name it, but also PC, Mac for Fork of Truth, and even consoles. So, yeah, we're pretty much doing just about everything. Yeah.
That's awesome. What about yourself, though? Are you a programmer? Are you more of a CEO type person? What do you do?
My official title is Knight of the Round Table, and that's because I kind of I don't have a well-defined box in which you could say, okay, I do just this. My background is in media design and animation. So I did a lot of websites in the past, but also 3D animations for kind of short animation shorts. And I taught myself programming. So this is kind of where everything blends together, and when you mix that up, you get games. So that's what I still do at the studio a little bit. But with 12 people, you know, you kind of it wouldn't make sense to be coding all day. So there's much more management these days.
So you're the jack of all trades, the traditional jack of all trades. Okay.
Absolutely. Gotcha. Yeah. And I like it that way. It's good.
Yeah, you gotta have fun. You dabble here and there. It keeps you busy, and you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, Fork of Truth. Oh, sorry. Let me step back here. Looking for Group, obviously a great webcomic. Ryan Sommer, Lard Sosa, two of the creative people among the massive entertainment industry that is, of course, Blind Ferret Entertainment. How did they approach you about? How did they approach the company about making their game?
Well, it's quite funny because Ryan actually posted a tweet, and he said something like, "Hey, we need a game studio to, develop a game for us." And that was a couple of months ago. And a friend of mine, he's also pretty much into webcomics, and he followed at Sommer on Twitter. So he said, "Hey, maybe you could have a look at Paladin Studios because they just finished their game and they're probably available." So I said, "Hey, nice to meet you. Let's exchange some emails." And after that, it went really fast because there was this click. You don't get that a lot, but we kind of get each other's humor, and we kind of complement each other on many different levels. So we basically, after we submitted a proposal, they said, "Well, we're good to go," and then we just started hammering out the prototype, basically.
Yeah. Ryan's a great guy. I've had him on the show before, and I've been in touch with him for many other of my own projects too. And
yeah,
the fact that both of you seem to have a very focused atmosphere and a very easygoing friendship as well when it comes to you have the same goals in mind, and I think that's great when you're collaborating with this huge world that they have.
It's amazing, and it's really an honor to be involved in it because the legacy that Ryan and Lara have created is pretty big by now. And I first started reading Looking for Group years ago, and back then it was quite a small comic still. And to see I kind of lost touch after that because I had to do other stuff, I guess. But to see where they're at right now, it's really impressive. So it's an honor. Yeah.
Now, obviously, the Kickstarter campaign is going very well. I don't know what percentages it's at this particular point in time in the actual podcast, but I see the detail of going into the gameplay aspect. I see the level of design that you have there. I see the fact that the characters are really well defined color wise and all that other stuff. How much input does Paladin Studios have in terms of the artistic side of it, or is this more of Lar and Ryan's creative mind?
Well, Lar and Ryan, they definitely set the tone, if you will. But they also give us an incredible amount of freedom. So I guess the art style that we came up with kind of clicked immediately with them. So that kind of builds that trust, and we let them review every model, especially the heroes. So they give feedback like, what assets should they have, what colors in general. But then we kind of try to mix it, or kind of try to forge it into the art style that we kind of created ourselves. So it's really a collaboration in that sense.
Nice.
It's amazing how much freedom they give. It's really good. Yeah.
I'm sure you have some clients that are very strict and to the point as to, well, it has to be this, and this.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It works better this way because and I didn't do the art myself, but I did do the art direction in-house. So when you kind of get the briefing where they say, I want it to kind of feel like this, it's kind of like a general direction where they want to take it. That gives you so much freedom to come up with the creative ideas that you otherwise wouldn't have if you have a really specific briefing where they say, okay, we want this armor, this the ears should be this big, or I don't know what. So it's really good to have that synergy.
Awesome. How long has Paladin Studios been around, though?
We've been around since 2005, but we've done a lot of work for hire. So we were kind of below the radar in terms of the entertainment games industry. But we've been around for a long time, and recently we kind of made the switch to more entertainment stuff, more games, and then also to kind of instead of being the guys you go to outsource specific technology or outsource the art or whatever, we kind of picked up complete projects. And one of the first ones is Momonga Pinball Adventures. It's kind of our independent title that we released half a year ago. And since then, we kind of only do games, basically.
Was that a hard change, though, from what you previously started with to this type of it can be a very cutthroat industry when it comes to making games on them?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very tough industry, and the change itself was not hard because we love making games. It's our passion. We really want to do that. And I think the toughest part is getting the partners that have kind of the financial means to invest heavily in the games that they need, and also the partners that kind of fit your vision and strategy for the company. So this is also kind of where Looking for Group is really a great fit because it's kind of the direction we want to take the company in for the future. So it's really nice to see that it is actually possible to partner with guys like Ryan and Lar, really get something off the ground. So it's amazing and very thankful for that. Yeah.
I'm going to ask you a few questions here. I'm doing a documentary called Little Person Among Media Giants, and it's about, it's about the struggles everyone goes through in order to become, successful in their own way. So bear with the questions and we'll go from here. Everyone usually has a person that kind of inspired them to get on their path to greatness. Who's the person that inspired you?
That's a really, really tough question, and I have to dig deep. I think there are a lot of people actually who inspire me. I don't have one specific person who kind of triggered me to go on the path of, like founding Paladin. I've had a lot of teachers at Art Academy who were inspiring me to kind of broaden my horizon in terms of the box that your creative brain is in, and like really push you to the limits in terms of coming up with original ideas, mixing up different stuff that kind of and that's really something that I learned at Art Academy. Before that, I studied media design, and there were some really good teachers who taught me about how to learn software, but also how to kind of get the most out of your work and your time. So there's definitely a lot of inspirations before I started Paladin. After I started Paladin, it was just, I think it's mainly the need for survival that kind of kept me going and also inspired me to make decisions. So in that sense, I guess inspiration is kind of an overrated word. It's just a shitload of hard work. Pardon my French, but it's that's kind of where I'm at. And also, I read a lot of books. So, for example, one of the books that kind of stand out in me is The War of Art. I'm ashamed to say that I forgot who wrote it, but The War of Art is really, it's about kind of the struggle that every artist has in terms of the resistance that you encounter from the outside world, but also from your inside, in terms of how you kind of you know that the work that you do needs to be done, and you need to kind of sit down. If you're a writer, you need to sit down and start writing. If you're a painter, you need to get that brush in your hands and start painting. But there's a lot of resistance to start doing that work, and that's kind of it was really an eye opener for me, because as many other people, I encounter that resistance on a daily basis. So it's really good to read something like that. And there are plenty of other books, also in terms of entrepreneurship, that kind of help me to understand what the hell am I doing? Why am I doing this? So, yeah. So there's not one specific answer to that, but it's also, I guess, inspiration can come from a lot of different angles, and I mean, if you just keep on doing it, then one day you're gonna, make a living out of it, I guess. Yeah.
Do you consider yourself a success?
In some ways, yes. In other ways, no. I think the main question is, how do you determine success? Success suggests that you have specific goals, and when you achieve those goals, you have success. The problem is that, first of all, not all goals that you have are conscious. So you may have little goals that you don't even think about anymore, but you kind of do them easily. You kind of take those for granted, but I think that's something, being alive is kind of like pure success, if you know what I mean. That's kind of a lot philosophical, but I guess that's where you're trying to go with those questions. So another thing is, sometimes you don't know what you want until you see the opportunity presented to you. And I think a lot of the opportunities that were presented to me in the past, I seized them. And in that sense, yes, definitely, I feel that right now where I'm at is where is kind of where I need to be in a certain way. That doesn't mean to. I won't probably never say that I'm where I want to be, but everything I did in the past kind of brought me to this point, and that means that as long as I live consciously and do things in the way that I feel that they're the right way to do it, and I believe that I did that, then yeah, it's a good place to be. And I'm absolutely 100% certain that there's much more to discover, way more adventures in store, and lots of ways to grow, and I will seize every opportunity to do that. So there's never a finish line to the story unless they bury you in your grave, I guess.
Well, then, how do you deal with failures?
I guess the short answer to that is there's a lot of failures in life in general, but also, especially if you're an entrepreneur or an artist, you will fail considerably. And I think that it's a tremendously important part of kind of the road that you need to take as a human being. So, and it's probably quite cliche to say there is no such thing as failure, because it certainly feels like failure. But on an emotional level, I try to deal with it the best that I can, and that means for me that I try to give it a spot, and I try to, I guess, learn from it is one way of putting it, but also dealing with it, processing it, giving it a place in your life. That's probably a better way of saying it. You don't want it to let it bite you in the ass in the future. So first of all, you need to learn from it, kind of cognitively, but also emotionally. You need to process all the negative feelings and kind of reestablish yourself afterwards. So, and dust yourself off, get back on track, and just get going again. That's how I try to deal with it, and it's never easy, but it's I kind of learned to kind of not really embrace it, but to kind of don't let it beat me up too much. So it's kind of like when there's a big heavy wind or something, you kind of lean into it a little bit and you just let it go. And you know that if you have the right balance, then you won't fall over and you can just keep moving. So.
Roundabout answer, but I like it. The way technology is today, the younger generation is grabbing it. They're taking full advantage of what we may not have had when we were younger. Uh-huh. How can they become inspiring for their generation?
The world today is moving so fast that it's just hard to encompass all the things that are happening. We're like a big hive mind, and I think in the future, and it's maybe already happening a little bit, but there will be much less emphasis on a single leader who kind of leads the way and inspires people with great words. Those are still there, and they will always be there, I hope. But I think little acts of inspiration, little moments of connection are the best sources of inspiration. So I think the best way to inspire others is to carve your own path and just walk it bravely, fearlessly, and just do it and show people what you can achieve if you put in the right amount of effort.
Do you think as a society, though, that we're not as socially connected as we are?
Yes and no. I just, it's a Sunday evening here right now, and I just visited my parents, and we had some really good discussions face to face, and I really enjoyed that. And now I'm sitting here with you, and we're thousands of miles away, and it's really there's an opportunity to connect on a different level, both in it's not necessarily in depth, although you asked some deep questions, but it's really broadening. If I look at Facebook, then it's not really the deep connection. The sun is shining.
Yeah. You can move. No, you can move if you need to.
Yeah, well, it's okay. I'm good. It's not necessarily deeper. We still have to do that the old-fashioned ways, face-to-face contact. But it's definitely broader and more widespread and more long-reaching than ever before. So, yeah, I don't know. In terms of social connections, I think we're better off than before. Of course, it leads to some other issues like happiness. Do you feel connected? Do you feel loved, for example? There's no, you cannot feel loved through Facebook alone. There's those real face-to-face connections to feel that stuff. So that's kind of the caveat with that.
Nice. If you want to close your blinds a little bit, you can. By all means, it looks like you're blinded there. Like, jeez.
A little bit, yeah.
Close your blinds. I mean, this is.
Let's see if I can do that a little bit.
Although I love your stained glass windows; those are nice.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. It's
that's good. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Finally, you can see. It's like, wait a second. It's 8 o'clock at night there, or 9 o'clock, and it's like sunny. Like, what the heck?
It's it's like this until 10, I guess. So it's a little bit crazy.
Jeez,
so it's probably.
I was gonna say I got to start filming in the Netherlands there. I mean, geez, like constant daylight. Awesome.
Only in summer.
Oh,
in winter, it sucks.
I'm Canadian. It works out.
Yeah.
Let's head back to Paladin Studios here. You mentioned a few of your previous games the one game that you started with here. Are there any other titles that obviously you're proud of all of the work that you do, but are there any other titles that kind of stand out where you didn't think that this game was going to be accomplished and you pulled it off?
We recently finished Momonga Pinball Adventures, which is a kind of a quirky pinball title for iOS. We're about to port it to some other platforms, but that's a different story. And we invested. It's kind of a Paladin game A to Z. So we did the initial concept, we did story writing, the music, the audio, everything was done in-house, the animations, everything. So, and it's completely self-funded. So we spent nearly 2 years on it in our spare time, and we basically put in every bit of time that we could find or make available, we put it in that game. And there were definitely some times when we felt like, are we ever going to finish it? Because we had some serious delays with the deadline, and it's such a huge undertaking. And to be honest, if we knew what it would cost to build it, we probably wouldn't have started it. But now that it's done, it's something that I'm really proud of, and I think we can look back on something that's really, really a Paladin thing, and that's really good. Yeah.
Awesome. The one thing I haven't asked though is what's the website we can go to for Paladin Studios? It's
paladinstudios.com. So,
well, that's easy.
Yeah.
When it comes to looking for groups game, now this is it's specifically for the smartphones. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, no, actually, sorry. I was still in Momonga mode.
Okay.
So, the Fork of Truth is going to be out for PC and Mac, and we actually have some ports planned as well if we reach the stretch goals. So you can definitely look forward to some tablets as well, and some consoles. So we still keep it kind of under the hood what it's going to be exactly, but that is also in the works. But PC, Mac for now.
Awesome. Is there anything that I haven't brought up here in our conversation that you'd love for the watchers of this video as well as the listeners on the podcast to know about?
Well, obviously, the kind of the blatant self-promotion is that it's right now on Kickstarter. So you guys need to head over to Kickstarter, have a look at the project, and if you like it, if you'd like to play a Looking for Group game, then it's definitely you can help us out a lot by pledging anything ranging from $1 to, I think the highest one is $1,000 or $5,000. But really anything helps, and if you know some people around who might like the game, please help us spread the word as well, because we could really use every voice and every backing that we can get. And I'm really, really, really looking forward to building this thing and playing it as well. So, yeah.
Well, that's awesome there, Derk. Appreciate it. So obviously a lot of our fan base is, of course, webcomic creators and as well as readers, and if they never heard of Ryan Sommer or Laura D'Souza, then they haven't listened to my show, and I don't care about them. But but truly, I want to thank you here for coming on. I really appreciate it, and I'm the fact that I'm learning more about Paladin Studios. I want to keep up with you guys in the future, and anything you guys need to promote, by all means, come back on. I'd love to do another conversation with you.
Sounds great. And actually, if you like to follow us, we have and this is also for Fork of Truth. We will keep a development blog. So we're going to write articles about how we build stuff, kind of the design decisions that we make, and we're very open. It's kind of open development in a way. So if you want to stay tuned, then that's the place to be.
Awesome. And of course, that is at paladinstudios.com. And, thank you once again, Derk, for coming on the show. I really appreciate it.
It's been a pleasure.